Welcome to 2023, and we have a brand new kata for Chorus, how to establish a baseline metric for relevancy. At this point in your relevancy journey, you're probably starting to see that sometimes we make small changes that have unintended consequences or outsized changes, right? You try to fix one query with a synonym and you don't realize that it has this other impact on many other queries that you didn't target. And this is often called the butterfly effect. And it's the idea that small, seemingly trivial events ultimately result in something much larger with much larger consequences. People often say a butterfly flaps its wings in India, and that tiny change in air pressure causes a tornado in Iowa, right? And so we see this frequently in our relevancy tuning work. And so how can we make sure that we're not just looking at sort of individual problem queries or individual problem use cases or query types, but also keep an eye on our overall search relevancy? And we do this by creating a baseline relevancy case in Cupid. And the baseline relevancy case is meant to be a case in Cupid where we have representative queries across our overall customer base, right? We source them from our query logs, so they represent real queries that real users are typing in. We want to make sure we have queries both from the head, from the shoulder, from the long tail, right? We want all of those queries. You know, people always ask, well, how many queries do I need? And I mean, generally the answer is more is better, right? The more queries we have in our baseline relevancy case, the more accurate we're going to be. On the other hand, because Cupid uses human judgments, we have to balance that against the effort required, right? So in general, if I'm starting with a brand new relevancy baseline case, I'll start with like 100 queries and do 100 queries, use maybe NDCG, top 10, that's 1,000 ratings. You can get through that fairly quickly. And so, there's a whole art form. There's a lot more we could go into, but 100 queries is a good starting point. And if that's not useful, then, or as you get more sophisticated, more, increase it. So we're going to assume in this kata that you already, you're going to need the queries rated. Fortunately, in our kata, we already have a bunch of chorus queries already rated for us. So, all right, let's go ahead and switch to Cupid and dive in. Okay, so we're assuming you've already fired up Chorus using the quick start script, and here we're at the login screen for Chorus. So we're going to go ahead and log in as Chorus admin at choruselectronics.com. The password is the word password. So we're going to go ahead. Now, if you use the quick start script, everything is already configured for you, but we're going to go through and do it by hand so you can see it. So we're going to go ahead and create a case, and we're going to call it Chorus Baseline Relevance. And we're using Solar, and we're running against our local search engine. So change that from that. Go ahead. There we go. Continue. And so the title field, for those of you who've been working with Cupid before, this will all feel very familiar. What fields do we want to look at? We want a thumbnail of our product, the name, the brand, and maybe what type of product it is. Okay, so now, because we already have a rated set of queries, we're actually going to skip. We're not going to add any queries at this point. So, all right, now we have an empty case. Now, we know we want to use NDCG at 20, so we're going to switch from AP to NDCG. We also are leveraging parameter sets, so we're going to specify that as well. So what is our query, right? Pass our query in, and we're using the param sets show me only visible products, i.e. products that have pricing information or complete products in course, and we're going to enable using quirky as well. So, all right, so go ahead, rerun my searches just to kind of save that. So now, fortunately, we have our broad query set rated set of queries. So we use the import function right here, right? And so this allows us to import our ratings. We're going to do a CSV file. So broad query set rated right there, right? And as you can see, Cupid gives you a little sample. So typical format, right? Query, what the document ID is and what the ratings were that we gave them. And we'll scroll down here and import them. So this is going to read in the CSV file, and once it completes, rerun all the queries. And there you go. You can see we've loaded our initial query set, and you can see that our baseline relevancy is a 0.63. We can go in here and look at some of these, right? Like, oh, look at that. Yeah, laptop's always been a challenge for us in Chorus. We get back lots of accessories. Bluetooth speaker, not too bad, right? We're starting out with Bluetooth speakers. You know, a couple of bad ones, but pretty good. So this is our baseline relevancy. This is where we're starting, right? And so in general, we would expect that score of 0.63 to go up, right? And that's what we're measuring. So how do we do that? Well, we take advantage of the snapshot capability in Cupid, and I'm going to go ahead and label it January 2nd, 2023. Okay, this is my baseline relevance on January 2nd, 2023. Go ahead and snap that snapshot. Now, this is what I can refer back to in the future as we start changing the queries using the compare snapshot. So in our next kata, we'll actually run an experiment, make some changes, and compare it back against this snapshot. So, all right, thank you. Welcome to 2023.